Welcome back to Passionate World Talk Radio. Educate, enlighten, entertain. And today on Cool Your Heels, our special guest is Julia Stage, who has the magic marketing or marketing from the Soul brand. And she is very good at it. So good afternoon, Julia. How you doing?
Hi, Lillian. Thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, well, not a problem. I think
I
everybody
like
needs a little bit of help.
music.
So why don't you introduce yourself as to how long you've been doing this and what initially got you started?
Ooh. Um, when I was a young teenager, my father started a business, and he decided that the perfect career for me would be graphic designer because I was creative. And he took me to his graphic designer's studio, and I saw what they did. And this was back in the early 70s, and they had these posters everywhere. And I thought, yeah, totally, that's it. And it's pretty much that since then, just looking at ways to help to communicate visually and to help people do that. And I just kind of figured out at a young age that that was the most practical application for the various talents that I had, and took a lot of effort to. Being an artist in this society isn't always easy. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot of discouragement that people like me and others, friends of mine, have received over the years, whether you're a writer or you're, a visual artist or like me, both. And people think that's very strange to have both of those. So I followed a trajectory of an artist. And one of the things that I noticed over the years is that if I felt a little too repressed or too underappreciated, that I moved on and did my own thing and didn't try to stick with the status quo. So then started in Manhattan. I thought, oh, I make it there, I'll make it anywhere. There's so many. Oh, let's get involved in promoting entertainment. So I worked for HBO for like a minute because they ended up eliminating the entire department. And this is in 1983, before even the big, corporate elimination things they've been doing. So I left Manhattan at an early age, just completely disillusioned about marketing in general. I thought, oh God, the whole thing is evil. And, but then the providence, the universe, I ended up in DeKalb, Illinois, which if you know hybrid corn, you would know DeKalb,
Yeah.
Otherwise,
colors, yeah.
I've seen the flying ear of corn. If you ever happened around a cornfield that had their seeds. So I went to Illinois, and it was I just had to go to the opposite, let's try the opposite, and fell right in with a bunch of revolutionaries who were young and wanted to end oppression everywhere. And I thought, well, and they wanted to do it artistically. I thought, well, this is a much better use of my talents. So I really learned quite at a young age, just because of the way things happened, how to promote cutting edge ideas and attract weirdos out of isolation to come and connect and do their thing, because that's what I think I'm here on this planet to, and so are you, which is not a surprise why we ended up connecting, but, to help people to get their thing out, like especially now, and especially if it's cutting edge and nobody's ever really heard of it before, because that means it's probably going to work better than what we've got. I mean, in my view. I like highly creative, cutting edge, whatever that is, that's what I want to promote.
Well, I think that's a good way. I mean, I raised a kid who was gifted and talented in art, and it was back in the 70s, and if anybody was all, it was always girls. So to have a boy in art was outside of their norm.
It
Plus,
was
the
outside
kid matured at an incredibly young age, so he was sporting a mustache and a beard by the time he was in 6th grade,
Oh, okay.
and they didn't know how to deal with it. And I said, it doesn't matter. We will do whatever is necessary to get you from A to B, and everybody else can take a long walk off a short pier, because what it really is, they're jealous. And they can't stand the idea that you've got something that they don't.
Well, maybe it is. I don't know. What I do know is that a lot of people are discouraged from self-expression at a really young age. And so what I like to do is help people to kind of revive that self-expression through their marketing, so that they end up attracting the exact right people who are aligned with them and their message. And so then the message, I mean, if you're attracting people aligned with your message, you have to be authentic. And so you look around and you see what is happening in marketing, and no matter if they say they're conscious or not, they're one level of the other or the other, not that authentic quite frequently. And then the advice that they have for us, and I've taken, high-end courses, thousands of dollars, where they're saying, well, you should just say this little white lie. And I'm like, what? Just exaggerate this part. What? So I remember back in about 14 years ago, because I started coming out with this law of attraction in intertwined with marketing, and authenticity became the number one thing, because if likes attracts like, you have to show what you're like. You can't do any of this stuff that's supposed to make you look better than you are. I mean, you can look as good as you are, but like to try to fake it, pretend and all that, or overly hype, and it's sort of falling on deaf ears right now for a lot of us anyway, right?
Yeah.
If you're going for a cutting edge audience, you got to figure they're at least as smart as you, if not smarter, to figure this stuff out. So I once, it sort of all ended for me, because I thought maybe conscious business people are different than those New Yorkers I knew, but no, they learn it in the same place.
They drink from the same bottle. I think what it is
bottle,
people have to know who they are before they can consciously attract people of like mind.
Well, I think we do know who we are. It's just a matter of talking it out and finding somebody that'll actually listen to you be you, instead of trying to tell you who you're supposed to be.
Or should be.
Yeah, and don't, I don't do that. You can't say that. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. You can't do that. You can't. I'm like, I can't? Wait. Where have I heard that before? Yeah, heard that before. And, why listen to that? Oops. See, they're trying.
They're coming after you. I think the other big thing is
customers are calling.
You need to be passionate, but I think really you need to really have all of you involved with your marketing, not just the outside, but your inside as well.
I think so too. Absolutely. And I slowly kind of figured this out, but I always knew it would be easier if you would just talk as if you were talking to your best friend, and just be straightforward. Yes, be clear. Be poetic. Be artistic. Be creative with what you're about. Think it through. Absolutely. I'm a poet from way back. So, if you write a poem, it doesn't just take a minute. So you got to spend some time, and you're choosing the right word, and you might go back later and add some phrases or delete some phrases, and then get it to the point where you would be willing to read that in front of a crowd of people. And that's your, I'd say ideal brand message if you do that. So I'm not saying just wing it every time. I'm not necessarily, no.
But you have to get emotional with it. You have to believe it, taste it, eat it, want it. And then when you put it out there, make sure that they brand with you as you're saying it so they can identify with whatever you're trying to encourage them to do.
And that you're consistent all the way through. I just, the one time I saw a couple of colleagues from the conscious business, crowd, supposedly, they put out a thing that said, gain an unfair advantage over your potential clients. And I thought, now it comes out, like, gain an unfair advantage over your potential clients. So if that is what this marketing, the old paradigm is about, then marketing in the new paradigm should probably just start from nothing. Just start from nothing, because it's all tainted at this point. And everything we learned, sure, I mean, there are some tools that we can learn how to use, and there are some things that people do that inspire us, maybe, and we can learn from people. I feel like people can learn from me, but I'm not going to guide anyone off of their true purpose, and or tell them to fake it, or quite the opposite. I feel like now is the time to come out with your really weird, unique thing. I think more people are going to be open to trying it, because so I'm saying, falling on deaf ears to say, well, we've never tried this before, as if that's a reason not, at this point, it's like, well, what's our options? Because your perfect customers are calling you too.
Yeah, they are. I was telling my station manager.
Mine was supposed to pick up mine too.
Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't. Oh, maybe it's kind of a creepy day anyway for us, with the rain and the thunder and the
Oh, really?
5-mile-an-hour winds that are tearing around and splattering
blue skies, sunshine.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, we were under a tornado warning too of everything else, and I was trying to decide, is the kitchen or the utility closet better? Let me think about that. But I really think that people have got to realize that in this brave new world, that they have to reinvent what they're trying to market in such a way that they are truly genuine. And they have to know who they're trying to be genuine with. So if you're going to be selling to a bunch of teenagers, for example, don't tell them what you did back in the 50s, because they don't really care. What they do want to find out is, how do you survive in the year 2020, when there's a possibility you may have to repeat half of your school year next year? What they want to hear from you is, how do you avoid that?
Right.
That's what they want to hear.
About that.
Or
I did have my best friend, though. I'll tell you this. My best friend was in college was a genius, and she managed to get through all sorts of, you can get high school equivalency exams. You can get a course equivalency exams where you can take a course, like a test. And she used to take these tests before she'd even done any studying, and did well on them because she was that way.
My husband did that.
But there's a lot of options to jump over the hoop, depending on where you're trying to go with it. Like, what is your real goal? I would say to anyone, no matter what your age is, what do you really want as your result? That's when I'm working with people. That's exactly what we're going to start with, because what's the point of doing what everyone says you're supposed to be doing just to promote a business? And that's just too random. You want to be doing what is fun, fulfilling, and sustainable for you, and to be able to put out a message that expresses what you're about, that connects with your audience, and that actually can inspire them. One of the things that I think about in terms of marketing is an opportunity to transform lives. It's not all about the sale. So most marketers, which we try to do the opposite of whatever most marketers do, most marketers are only focused on the tiny percentage that will eventually buy from you. And then you're marketing to them, and then you're creating all these funnels, which I'd say, of course, it's practical to do that. But then what about those 95% of the people that are never really responding to your stuff? I say you can inspire them with your message and make it not just all about, the sale or the product even, but about the results that you want to have happen in the world, what you think is important. That will attract others who say, hey, finally, somebody's talking about something that's important, that I agree is important. And then, from there, they're wanting to connect. But if you're offering them more than just something to buy, you're offering them a way to transform their lives for free, always starting for first to lead into other things that they would pay for, perhaps. For the most part, though, you're providing the world with a service, and it fulfills your purpose when it's fulfills your purpose, right? So when you've actually invented something, your signature program or your offering that fulfills your purpose, doing the marketing of it in a way that transforms lives is the doing of the purpose. So I like merging those things, because that's kind of the only way we're going to really do our purpose, is if we integrate it with what we have to do with our business anyway.
More about them, less about you, is not the fact that you can do this for them. Actually, they're doing it for themselves. You can't do it for them.
Right. I mean, it's
introduce them to how they would do it. It's a great.
It might not even be either of us. It's like the idea, in a way. I'm a little bit of a romantic philosopher, but let's say an idea of freedom or something that captures your imagination and calls you into being. And then it doesn't have to be about you or them. It's about the conversation that you're having together for transformation, and the kind of transformation that you can offer people. When you can express what that is, they're going to be drawn in when they want that transformation. So you don't have to worry about people thinking that you're weird or not really understanding what transformation you're offering, because you're pretty much, the whole conversation is about that.
Exactly. So I understand you have a book. You're offering a PDF of a book as incentive. Yes, the name of the book is?
It's called Branding from the Heart: How to Share Your Purpose Through Marketing That Attracts Your Tribe and Inspires a Revolution. So that's the visual of it. It's all about clarifying and expressing your purpose and what is most important to you in ways that attract and engage people that are aligned with you, no matter, all over the world. That's the lack of barriers that we have to connect with people because of the internet, and because of the fact that internet relies on searches, mostly using words. that using words that express your purpose and attracting other people that way turns out to be a wonderful, wonderful way to build a tribe. And always be talking with people that you're aligned with, which didn't happen in my earlier life. That it wasn't as easy in person before the internet. It wasn't as easy to find people. You had to find people that were outspoken enough that you would know what they were really thinking. But now, because of the internet, you see what they're thinking right away and connect with the ones that and be clear about who you are. That's what this book really is all about. It takes the steps that I take my branding clients through, and step by step identifying who's your tribe and what aligns you and them. And once you determine what is aligning you with your tribe, that's of course what you're going to be talking about. And how does that lead into your offerings as a business? How are you leading people to work with you? How are you branding your products and services? And then how are you marketing? Like we said, in marketing in a way that's not totally off kilter to the transformation that you're providing, and in fact is aligned with that transformation and even could provide a transformation. When I give away this book because I want you to have a transformation. I want you to understand that your authentic self is the most attractive thing you can share in your marketing. That when you do and you attract people that are aligned with you, you are in love with them. You want to just do that all day long. Sales calls become fun. And
your aha moment, your epiphany.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just one after the other. Great people that you just wish you'd known your whole life keep coming to you. And that's why we do the websites for people, because they're little magnets for ideal clients. And when you can project both visually and with words and smart layout how to, what you're about, and give people a way to connect with you, that's why we do it. I just think it's the best thing. Having come from, we're of a certain age. We remember what it was like in the early days.
We remember. My son still has trouble. My grandchildren said, "What? TV was invented the first time in the 50s?" And I said, "Well, that was after I crossed the prairie on the top of a dinosaur, T-Rex, with a parasol to keep the sun off my head." Yes. They don't, or that computers were the size of 2 football fields. That's outside of their comprehension.
Yeah, I remember that because back when I was in college in the early 80s, my teacher said, "You will be replaced by computers unless you know the computer." So I said, "Let me go check out this computer." And I looked, and it was just a big room. But then about 3 years later, after I left Manhattan, I just flew into a crowd that happened to have somebody that recommended that I start doing media design. And I went and got a scholarship for grad school and did media studies in the late 80s. So that was computer graphics, film, video, slides, and performance and art all together. It was rather crazy. So, that's why since forever, since the mid 80s, I've been doing media, multimedia, and it's just been used ever since I started using it. I thought, hey, this is really about communicating an idea to people. Let's do it creatively, and let's think of new ways to attract and engage people that are creative and fun. I think it ought to be fun more so than wily, or tricky. And I don't want to figure out ways to trick people. Who does that?
Yeah, that's the old standard. I think the new standard is a lot better. And I think with what's coming around now anyway, with the advent of technology, because of the pan epidemic, we're going to have more of them. So we're going to have to get a little more wiser in how we use the technology that's available to us.
Well, I've been online for 23 years, and the whole time I keep hearing, I'm not ready to go online. And I just think, time is now. I thought that 23 years ago. And then it started getting, then we have Facebook and stuff like that, and it's free. And still people are kind of want to brag about not being on Facebook, not really using the free tools that we have to get their message out. I don't really understand that. I think that maybe this situation here with everyone being isolated more forces us to, be more conscious of how we are online. But that's pretty much what I've been thinking about constantly for almost a quarter century, it looks like. And so now I feel like, hey, maybe finally people will just really take it seriously. What does your online platform look like? What does it read like? What does it feel like? Does it really represent you? Because that's what people are looking at to connect with you or not. Is it fakey wakey? Did you just use a template and leave it? Most people, that's what they do. They just don't know what to do. So, that's another thing that I'm always trying to help people. And it pretty much turns out that what they need first is clarity of their message and what they're saying. And the technology isn't going to help you there.
No, you got to sit down and think it through first. Julia, please tell everybody where they can find you on the World Wide Web. Don't forget your magic wand there so we can get some orbs out.
Well, you can get your book at brandingfromtheheartbook.com. brandingfromtheheartbook.com. That's a good way to find me, and or just look up Julia Stege, the magical marketer, and you'll find all sorts of online properties up there. But when you download this book, you're going to get instant access to a training I did on how to create your brand message. So you might as well hunker right on in and tap into your heart and create your authentic message. And I'd be happy to talk with you anytime. Say, hey, I saw you on Lillian's show, got your book, let's chat, and I'd be happy to connect with you. It's my greatest pleasure to connect with people I'm aligned with all around the world at any time.
The only way to travel.
What?
The only way to travel.
The only way to travel online.
Yes, online. You don't have to pay tickets. You don't have to have an ID. You don't have to wait in line. You don't have to be frisked.
No frisking.
No frisking. I don't have any AT people frisking you online or anything else like that.
Yeah.
All you have to do is turn on. So, ladies and gentlemen, and adults of all ages, you can listen to this video interview with Julia Stege all over again on, of course, youtube.com/PWR Network, twitter.com/PWR Network, facebook.com/PWR Network. Gee, this is getting boring. Also, ps://passionateworldtalkradio.com. Go down the right side. That's where the menu lives. Go to Cool Your Heels. Click on that, and voila, there it is. And before you go away and stray, Bernard Shaw had this to say in 1903, happiness and beauty are byproducts. Thank you all very much for listening. And until next time, please keep listening.